All right, let's talk about workplace safety. But we're not just going to talk about it. Today, we're building something a complete playbook, a system that's designed from the ground up to make sure every single person goes home safe at the end of every single day. So let's dive in. So, when I say workplace safety, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it just a hard hat? Maybe some warning signs? The usual stuff? Well, the truth is, a truly safe workplace is so much more than that. It's a culture, it's a mindset, it's a whole system that runs through absolutely everything we do. The best way to think about it is like building a pyramid. It needs a rock solid foundation, a really strong framework, and a clear action plan right at the top. And the most important part of all of this? It's you. Every single person on the job is an architect of this structure. You have the power to make it strong. Okay, so every strong building starts with a solid foundation, right? Well, in our safety pyramid, that foundation is a culture of safety. And this isn't about some dusty old manual sitting on a shelf. It's about the habits and the shared beliefs that guide everyone's actions every single day. And it all begins with leadership. And that brings us to this key idea called visible leadership. Now, forget about job titles for a second. This has nothing to do with being the boss. It means leading by example, making safety your undeniable number one priority. Anyone can be a visible leader, and it all starts with applying 5 key criteria. Yup, 5. 5 core things we need to nail down. Let's break them down one by one. First up, vision. This means you have a personal, unwavering commitment to the goal of zero harm. You don't just follow the safety rules, you're a champion for them, and you're always looking for ways to improve your own safety knowledge. Next is credibility. And look, this one is a huge deal. It means you walk the talk. You never ever take shortcuts, and you refuse to let anyone pressure you into doing something unsafe. Your actions speak louder than words, showing everyone that safety is non-negotiable. Period. Number 3, collaboration. Let's be real. Safety is a team sport. A visible leader actually listens to their teammates, encourages them to work safe, and uses their feedback to make the job better and safer for everybody. And at number 4, we have communication. Because it's one thing to say something, but it's a whole other thing to make sure people actually get it. You gotta keep your team in the loop and really champion those safety messages. And finally, wrapping it all up, is action. This is where the rubber meets the road. A visible leader never just walks past a hazard. They control it, they report it, and they inspire their workmates to do the exact same thing. And hey, speaking of communication, how you say something can be just as important as what you're saying. A group toolbox talk is great for getting the message out to everyone at once, but people can get distracted. On the other hand, an email gives you a paper trail, but it's super easy for it to get lost in a crowded inbox. The whole point is to pick the right tool for the job to make sure your message actually lands. Okay, so our foundation is poured, it's solid. Now let's move up to the next layer of our pyramid. The framework. This is the structure that holds everything together, the absolute non-negotiable rules and behaviors that are there to protect all of us. And at the very heart of this framework, there are 8 specific life-saving rules. And when I say they're non-negotiable, I mean it. These are the cardinal rules. Think of them as the foundation of safe behavior. They cover all the high-risk stuff, like working at heights, dealing with live equipment, or operating big machinery. These aren't just suggestions, they are life-saving rules. You absolutely have to know them. It really is that simple and that serious. The consequences are just way too high. These rules exist for one reason. They prevent the worst-case scenarios from ever happening. Now, beyond those hard rules, it's also about our day-to-day safe behaviors. And that really boils down to 2 things. First, your physical awareness, like never ever standing in the line of fire of a potential hazard. And second, your mental focus. Keeping your mind on the job and tuning out distractions is just as critical as where you're standing. All right, foundation's in, framework's up. Now we get to the top of the pyramid, the action plan. This is your on-the-job toolkit. Simple, practical tools that you can and absolutely should be using every single day to actively manage your own safety. At its core, managing hazards is a really simple 3-step dance. First, you identify what could go wrong. Second, you assess the risk. How likely is it to happen and how bad could it be? And third, you do something about it. You eliminate or control that hazard. Okay, your first and honestly one of your most powerful tools is simply to take 5. Before you start any task, especially something new, just stop for a second, think it through,
Identify the hazards, make the changes you need to, talk about the plan with your team, and then you can get the job done safely. It's a quick mental check that can literally save a life.
Now, when you're figuring out how to control a hazard, use this hierarchy as your guide. Think of it like a ladder. You always want to start at the very top. The absolute best solution is to eliminate the hazard completely. And way down at the bottom, the least effective option, your last line of defense, is your PPE, your personal protective equipment. Always, always aim as high up this pyramid as you possibly can. We've talked about some really great tools so far, but there is one more. And I would argue it's the single most powerful safety tool you have in your possession. Any guesses what it is? This is it, Stop Work Authority. And listen closely because this is for everyone. Every single person has the absolute right, and I'd say the responsibility, to stop any job they feel is unsafe. There is no comeback, no discipline. If you see something, you say something, and you stop the work. It is always better to stop a job than to have an incident. This right here, this empowers everyone.
So there you have it. We've built our safety pyramid, piece by piece. It starts with that solid foundation, a strong culture built on visible leadership. Then comes the framework of non-negotiable rules and safe behaviors. And it's all capped off with your action plan, your personal toolkit for staying safe on the job.
You know, in the end, it all comes down to this. It's a simple little mantra, but it really is everything. Think about safety in everything you do. Work in a way that protects you and everyone around you, and make sure that at the end of every single day, you and your entire team get to go home safe. That's the goal. That's what this is all about.